Is it possible to change the world? Of course, it is possible. However, there is a catch. Stay with me and let's find out what the catch is as we go through this verse 54. Hi, welcome back to Oneness. Today it is day 54 and we will be looking at verse 54 from Tao Te Ching. As usual, let's observe a few seconds of silence. Alright, so now let's get started. So the verse 54 begins like this. What is firmly established cannot be uprooted. So the first line, what Laotzu says is, something that is firmly established within us that cannot be uprooted. So this thought applicable to a lot of things. For an example, it can be our belief system. It can be some kind of a judgment, opinion, or even a fear that we have towards someone or something. The moment it's firmly established within us, then it is difficult to uproot or difficult to let go of it. And that is why it takes an effort to change. And also, the other way to look at this verse is, in the context of Tao Te Ching, what Laotzu speaks, so the moment we firmly establish the connection with the source, when I say source, it can be our inner stillness or the connection that we feel with the nature, the cosmos, that is oneness we feel. The moment it is firmly established, then it is difficult to uproot. Then he goes on to say, what is firmly grasped cannot slip away. So here he talks about firmly grasped. Again, we can relate to any kind of a knowledge or understanding of things. Or in this context, let's talk about virtue. The virtue, Laotzu says, it is kindness, love, compassion, and goodness. The moment it is firmly grasped and then we fully understand it, then it is difficult to let go of it. So when I say firmly grasped, it becomes like our nature, not even a second nature, but our inner nature. Then it is difficult to slip away. This difficult situation may arise. However, we will stay with our inner nature of love, kindness, compassion, and goodness all the time. So that is what Laotzu means by once it is firmly grasped, then it is difficult to slip away. And then he goes on to say, it will be honored from generation to generation. The moment when we start following, when we start practicing, the moment it becomes our nature, then the honor will pass from one generation to the other generation. The people in the family also start following. And then he goes on to say, cultivate virtue in yourself, and virtue will be real. So before we change the world, as we started before, we should cultivate within us. So look at the word cultivate. He didn't say that we have to preach to someone. He said that cultivate. It is like, so before we want to make a forest, we need to plant one seed, right? So it starts with a seed. So he says that cultivate virtue in yourself. You plant the seed within yourself first. That way, it is real. So instead of preaching about it and talking big about it, start practicing. First, you as an individual, you and me, we should practice it. Then it becomes real. We will start understanding what is the true meaning of it. Then cultivate in the family and the virtue will abound. So the next step is, the moment we start following something, the people who's around us start noticing. The first level of people is our family members. They start noticing and they also will start following it. That way, the virtue expands. Then he says, cultivate in the village and the virtue will grow. And then the next step beyond the family is our neighbors, the community, a village, or the place where we belong. Then everyone around the place will start following. Then it goes on to say, cultivate in the nation and the virtue will be abundant. The moment it starts spreading like a wildfire, then everyone starts following the goodness, then it is available in abundance in the whole nation. And finally, he concludes this paragraph with, cultivate it in the universe and the virtue will be everywhere. The moment it's get cultivated in the universe, then it is there everywhere. And that is what we can call it as a cosmic consciousness. What is cosmic consciousness? It is moment that every one of us, every single being obeys the law of nature, practices the way of nature, and also be one with the nature. Then it becomes a cosmic consciousness. That way we all become oneness with everything. That's what Laotzu means in this line. Then he goes on to say, therefore, look at the body as body. Look at the family as family. Look at the village as village. Look at the nation as nation. Look at the universe as universe. So it is something like changing one step at a time. Or it is something like the change start within. The moment you start practicing instead of preaching, first people start noticing. Your family members or the others start noticing it. And then they see a significant change of yours, and then they are attracted to you. They come and ask you, how did you do it? And then they will start listening to you and follow you. When they change, again the cycle of the people who are there in touch with, they also start noticing first. Then they are attracted. Then they will follow and listen to them, and they will change. It goes on like a butterfly effect. A flapping of the butterfly wings can cause a tsunami. Likewise, it starts with you. So if you're in a mindset that you're so insignificant to change the world, then change your thought first. Think that you are a part of the whole universe and the change can start with you. Just like how a flapping of the butterfly can change or cause a tsunami, likewise, you and your change can cause the whole universe to change. So that is why Laotzu says, instead of feeling you're insignificant to make a change to this world, start believing that you are significant. And that is a truth as well. The moment you realize this truth, I'm sure you will take an effort to change within, and that way you can change the world. And he ends this verse with, how do I know the universe is like this? By looking. He says that by observing things, he knows that the change begins with self, and then the change happens with people around them, the family, then the village, then the nation, then the universe. Everyone will fall in place and change. With that, we come to the end of verse 54. So one actionable thought for today is, instead of feeling that you are insignificant to make a change in this world, think that and believe that you are a significant being. And your change influences everything in the whole cosmos and universe, thus changing everything. So, if you have any thought or idea or opinion that you want to share to others, instead of just preaching, start practicing first. By practicing, you will grasp the idea and then you plant the seed within. That way, the people will see the change within you. First, they notice, then they get attracted to you, then they follow you, and they also start following. That way, the whole of practice become one with the nature, and everyone in the whole of the universe be one with the virtue. With that thought, let's conclude day 54 and then talk to you tomorrow. Thank you.